Hello, thanks for joining me. We are going to have a look today at the TOEFL independent essay. And I'm Jamal from E2 Language. And today I'm going to be showing you a few things. Firstly, we're going to go through and understand the different types of essay questions that you may come across on test day. I'm going to explain to you how to answer the question. Also, very importantly, how to plan your essay. I'm going to help you learn a really useful and time-saving essay template and then show you a sample. And at the end of the class, I'm going to give you some top tips for your essay, as well as how to avoid making mistakes. So let's get started. Understanding the essay question. So there are three possible ways a TOEFL essay might be phrased. It might be phrased as an agree or disagree question. It could be phrased as a three-option question or as a preference question. So I'm going to go through each of these three with you. But before that, it's good to understand that although the question may be phrased in three different ways, the essay type is actually the same. So you're going to be writing an argumentative essay in which you basically pick an opinion or pick a side and argue that side. So let's go through each one of these. Agree, disagree. Here's a sample. Do you agree or disagree with the following statement? Use specific details and examples to support your answer. And here's a statement. Playing a team sport teaches valuable lessons that cannot be learned another way. Now, this is probably the most common way that an essay question in the TOEFL would be phrased. So here you're given a statement, which is basically opinion, and then you're asked whether you agree or disagree with it. Another way that the essay question could be phrased is the three options. When choosing a college major, which of the following factors do you believe is most important? Personal interest, availability of jobs, and earning potential. Now, this is the second most common phrasing for an essay question. Now, it's still an argumentative essay, so you're still picking one of these three. You're not actually writing about all of them. Okay, it says which of the following. So which one of the following do you believe is most important? So let's just say you think personal interest is most important when choosing a college major. You would write about an essay about why that is the most important factor, and you wouldn't mention the other two. Okay, so you're picking a side and you're arguing that side. And lastly, this is the least common way a question could be phrased, is the preference question. So your university plans to develop a new student facility on campus. Some people want an entertainment center. Other people want a gymnasium. Which of these kinds of facilities do you recommend for your university? Use specific reasons in your recommendation. So here it's asking which one do you prefer, or would you prefer? Would you prefer the university build an entertainment center? Or would you prefer it builds a gymnasium? And again, as you can see, you're going to pick one and you're going to argue why. So although these three questions take a different presentation in the way that they're worded, the type of essay that you write is still the same. So how do you write the essay, or how do you answer the question? Well, as I said, you choose one side, one preference, or one of the three options, and you write only about that. And then you write 2 paragraphs supporting why you chose it. So let's take a look at the first example question that I showed you, the agree-disagree. Playing sport teaches valuable lessons that cannot be learnt another way. So you need to decide, what is your opinion? Do you think that playing team sport teaches lessons that can only be learnt through playing team sport? Or do you think that there are other ways to teach learn these valuable lessons? So you need to choose a side and argue it. I've chosen to say I believe team sport teaches valuable lessons that cannot be learned another way. And this essay will explain why. Now, I may not necessarily really believe this. I may think that there are plenty of other ways that people can learn valuable lessons other than playing team sport. But my personal opinion doesn't really matter. On the day of the test, it's safer to go with a position that you can very easily argue and come up with examples for to support. So although I don't necessarily believe this, I think it's going to be an easier essay to write. So I'm going to stick with this opinion. Okay, so I've chosen my side, and that's what my argument is going to be throughout this essay. The three options one, so which of the following is the most important factor when choosing a major? Personal interest, availability of jobs, or earning potential. So I need to pick one and argue it. I believe that personal interest should be the motivating factor when choosing a college major, and this essay will explain why. Number 3, preference, so choosing whether your university should build an entertainment centre or a gymnasium. Choosing a side and arguing it. So I believe that the best development for my university would be an entertainment centre, and this essay will explain why. Now you can see in all 3 examples that I've shown you, I've written I believe, and then I've stated my opinion, and then I've followed that with, and this essay will explain why. So this tells the reader clearly what your opinion is and the plan for your essay, that you're going to follow this up, that you're going to support your opinion with evidence and examples. So once you have read and understood the essay question and you've decided which opinion you're going to take, you need to think about how you're going to express that opinion, how you're going to put that all into an essay. And that requires a bit of planning. So let's take a look at how to plan your essay. So you've chosen your opinion. You need to think about 2 reasons why you've chosen that opinion. And you want to make sure that these are reasons that you can easily provide examples for. So, going back to the first question, I believe that team sport teaches valuable lessons that cannot be learned any other way, and this essay will explain why. So I need to think now of 2 reasons, and my 2 reasons are because team sport teaches how to work towards common goals, and it teaches about mutual support. So these are the 2 reasons that I've come up with. And then what would happen is that my first paragraph is going to be about developing this idea, and my second paragraph will be about developing this idea. Okay, what about the one that said, I believe personal interest should be the motivating factor when choosing a major? So if I'm going to take this opinion, I need to come up with 2 reasons. And the reasons I came up with are, if you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. So you'll be happier. And number 2, if you have passion for what you do, you'll be more successful. So this is what basically this is going to provide the plan for my essay. First paragraph, second paragraph. And thirdly, I believe the best development for my university would be an entertainment centre. Well, why? Well, students need a place to relax, is first reason. And second reason is that an on-campus entertainment centre would be more affordable for students than them going off-campus for entertainment. Okay, so the planning stage is picking an opinion or choosing a side, and then thinking of 2 reasons that you can use to support that opinion. Okay, so you're not being scored on your opinion. What you're being scored on is your ability to support your argument and develop your argument. So now that you know what your opinion is and you have your 2 reasons, let's look at how we can put those into a template to write our essay. Okay, so your essay is going to be 4 paragraphs in total. It might be 5, but you're always going to have an introduction, always going to have a conclusion, and you could have either 2 body paragraphs or possibly 3, but I would stick to 2. So let's take a look firstly at how to write an introduction. So I'm going to be using the second essay question about choosing a college major, that I believe personal interest should be the motivating factor, because if you do what you love, you'll be happy and you'll also be successful. So an introduction is composed of 3 parts: a background statement, a specific statement, and a thesis statement. So a background statement is quite a general statement to the topic. For example, choosing a college major is one of the biggest decisions a young person will have to make. So in general there, I've just introduced the topic, which is choosing a college major. Now I'm going to go more specific. I'm going to narrow that topic by saying, when making this decision, there are many important factors to consider. But in my opinion, one of them outweighs them all. So now I'm narrowing my topic down until I get to my thesis statement. I believe that personal interest should be the motivating factor when choosing a college major, and this essay will explain why. So the thesis statement gives your opinion, I believe, and also says what this essay will do. So here's my introduction. Choosing a college major is a big decision. When making this decision, there are many factors to consider, but I'm narrowing it down to 1. And here I'm telling the reader what that 1 is, which is personal interest. So this now brings us to the body paragraphs. Body paragraphs, again, I'm sticking to the same essay topic. Body paragraphs contain 4 parts: a topic sentence, explanation, which can be more than 1 sentence, example, which can also be more than 1 sentence, and a closing sentence. So let's take a look at some examples. The first reason why personal interest should drive the choice of major is that if you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. Now you can see that I've started that paragraph with the first reason. So this is a nice way to sort of introduce your first supporting idea. And here I've given it: if you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. So I'm going to develop this idea further through explaining it. What that means is your job will never feel like a chore, but rather a life's calling. We spend most of our lives at work. So it's better to do what one loves and to feel one's life has a higher purpose. So here I've explained what I mean by this statement that I gave in my topic sentence. But now I'm going to explain it even further with a more specific example. Take doctors, for example. Their jobs are highly stressful, but because they do what they love, which is helping people, their jobs will always bring them fulfillment. Another example is teachers. Teachers are known to be overworked and underpaid, but they love what they do. Otherwise, they would have no motivation to go to school every day. So here are some specific examples to support why people should love what they do. And I finish the paragraph by bringing that all together. Therefore, given the stress of work and the time we spend in our jobs, interest in a particular field or vocation should be a driving force in choosing one's university major. So you can see how the idea in the closing sentence links directly back to the idea in the topic sentence. And the idea in the topic sentence comes directly from my thesis statement in my introduction. So all parts of the essay should be related. And here's the paragraph. So topic sentence, explanation, example, closing sentence. Let's look at paragraph number 2, same structure. And my second idea is, secondly, if one chooses a major based on personal interest, then they will more likely be successful in their career. So let me explain this further. This is because passion drives success, and in turn, success drives passion. The more you love what you do, the better you will be at it, and thus the more successful you will be in your chosen vocation. Now I need to give an example of this. It is not uncommon, for instance, to hear of students who choose a study path to satisfy their parents' dreams. They may graduate and work for a few years in that field, but ultimately they will feel a lack of drive. Often, such people change career path later in life to follow what they love and reach high levels of success. For example, the comedian Ronnie Chang majored in finance, but left that industry to follow his passion for comedy. Now he is one of the most successful comedians in the world. So here's an example of how following your dream or your passion can actually make you more successful. And let me end that paragraph by saying, given this, it's better not to waste time on a degree that you do not feel passionate about, and instead follow your dreams and study what you love. Okay, now I've written almost my whole essay. Topic sentence, explanation, example, closing sentence. Now it's time for the conclusion. So the conclusion is really a summary. So you're not introducing any new information or examples in the conclusion. You're just summarizing what you've already said and then ending it by giving a suggestion, opinion, or recommendation. For example, in summary, personal interest is the most important factor when deciding on a college major for 2 reasons. It will lead to greater job satisfaction, and following one's passion will ultimately lead to success. So I've begun it with in summary, and I've stated my topic or my opinion, which is personal interest is the most important factor when deciding on a college major. Okay, so referring back to the question. And then I said for 2 reasons, and here I've summarized the 2 reasons. So first paragraph talked about job satisfaction, and the second paragraph talked about job success. And then I can end it by saying, overall, the choice of college major will in many ways determine one's life, and therefore one should take careful consideration to ensure they choose wisely. So I'm ending it with a little, I guess, a recommendation. And conclusion, just to recap, summary sentence and suggestion or recommendation. So let's take a look at all parts of that essay now. So here it is. You can see that it's 4 paragraphs in total. I've got my introduction, body paragraph 1 to conclusion. And here's my thesis statement. Remember, to recap, the thesis statement states your opinion, I believe, and what do you believe? And then says what this essay will do. This essay will explain why. And then each body paragraph should give 1 reason why. So body paragraph 1, my topic sentence stated the first reason. Body paragraph 2 stated the second reason. And then my summary sentence and my conclusion summarized both reasons. Okay, so you can see that these are all connected. So let's just go through the essay sentence by sentence. My introduction begins with a general statement, a specific statement, and the thesis statement. Body paragraphs always start with a topic sentence, the first reason. I explain my reason, I give an example of my reason, and then I summarize that reason. Secondly, give my second reason, explain that reason, give an example, and then summarize the reason. my conclusion, summarizes the two reasons, and then gives my opinion. So you can see that the essay follows, a really specific structure, and you can see a common thread throughout the whole essay. Doing this will help you to keep the essay on track, that you don't sort of start going off topic, that every sentence should relate to the one before. And the introduction all the way through the conclusion, it's really clear what your argument or what your opinion is and why you think that. It's very, very important to getting a high score, to keep your opinion consistent throughout the whole essay. So let's look at some top tips for the TOEFL essay. It says to write between 300 and 500 words. Now, to get a higher score, you should aim for 400 or above. So even though the minimum is 300, you don't want to stick to just the minimum, all right? You want to write more words to increase your score. Leave a line space between the paragraphs. So no need to indent the first line of the paragraph. It's much clearer and easier to read when you leave a space between each paragraph. Avoid slang, idioms, and contractions. Now, this is an academic essay. So we're so used to writing, on social media shortcuts, using linguistic shortcuts like can't instead of cannot, or idiomatic expressions. But because this is an academic piece of writing, or supposed to be, you want to avoid that kind of language. Okay, so how do you avoid making mistakes? Well, you're going to get 30 minutes to complete the task. What I suggest that you do is spend 1 minute really reading and understanding the question. Don't rush that part. Read the question a few times. Ask yourself, what is it asking me to do? Okay, then you want to spend 2 minutes planning. This is where you can use the pen and scratch paper provided to sort out or decide what your opinion is going to be. Which side are you going to choose? And then quickly write down or brainstorm 2 reasons. Now remember, the 2 reasons you choose, they're going to form your entire essay. So you want to spend about 3 minutes in total understanding the question, planning and brainstorming. Then you can spend 25 minutes writing, or is actually typing, leaving 2 minutes at the end for proofreading. Now, proofreading means looking for typos, any mistakes in grammar or spelling. So mistakes in grammar or spelling or mistyped words are going to cost you points and will affect your score. So it's really important to keep those couple of minutes at the end to go back and proofread. Sometimes, especially when we're typing really fast to try to get our thoughts out as quickly as possible, we make mistakes that we don't realize. So it's better that you go back and catch that mistake before the examiner does. Okay, so do we have any questions about what I've gone through today in terms of the planning stage of the essay, the structure of the essay, or how to choose an opinion? Or any questions about the sample that you saw? Just go back. The sample was 456 words. So yeah, you want to try to stick between 400 and 500. Okay, so if you don't have any questions, thanks a lot for joining me. Practice as much as you can using the template that I've shown you. Go through some of the essay questions that we have on our website and practice those in timed conditions, and try to use the 1 minute question reading time, 2 minute planning time, 25-minute writing time, and 2 minute checking time. The more you practice at home under those conditions, the more prepared and comfortable you're going to feel in the test. Great question. So somebody has asked, what if you're not a good typer? Because it is a computerized test. So really, you need to practice when you do any of your practice essays. Rather than practicing writing them by hand, you got to practice typing them. The more it's like with anything, the more you practice it, the quicker you're going to get at it. So maybe spend, half an hour a day, each day, practicing typing one essay in 25 minutes. Try to practice typing 400 words in 25 minutes if you can. If you do that every day over a week, you're going to see some improvement. Yeah, TOEFL it's a computerized test, so you're going to be doing it all on the computer. You are going to be given scratch paper and a pencil, and that's just for you to sort of plan out your ideas, but you won't be submitting that. Yeah, so there are lots of skills that you need on the day other than just English skills or, essay skills. It's technical skills as well, like typing, for example. So yeah, it's another element that you need to consider in your preparation. All right, well, thank you very much for your questions, and I will see you guys next week. We'll look at integrated writing. Bye, take care.